This is a DAPP2 Task 2 personal learning presentation by me, Gavin Downs. The presentation will be based on 4 reflective posts all around my placement in second year. It'll be pre-placement, first week, halfway through placement and at the end. It gives reflective cycle reviews to understand my experiences that I've had in these reflective posts and how to act upon them. So moving on to the first reflection, this is a few days before my placement has actually begun. So what's happened up to yet regarding in the second year? So academically, I've currently completed 4 out of 6 second year modules, results pending. I've received a grade from the DAPP2 Assessment 1 interview, which I got a first, 75%, so I was pleased with that. All formative tasks leading up to placement have been completed, so CV work, practicing interviews and Petra presentations have all been practiced to help me with getting my placement. Also, more coaching has been practiced in modules such as in societies and communities and in innovative and inclusive delivery, and also out of university time at my local football club. So actions I've taken for placement: I've researched the coaching placement I'll be at, which is at Balbicar Football Academy. I'll be coaching a group of 16 to 18 year olds for 6 weeks. To get this, I practice applications in DAPP2 along with interview practicing, which has helped me apply for my actual placement. So once I've done this, I did apply for Balbicar coaching placement. I was offered the placement and I accepted it. So key thoughts and feelings prior to placement. So I'm excited because it is football and it's what I want to do as a career full-time, coaching. I'm slightly anxious because even though I've played at this level, I've never actually coached. I'll be slightly anxious to see if I can coach competently. I am curious because even though I said I'm passionate about football, I've never actually done it on a full-time basis, so we'll be saying this in 6 weeks' time, we'll have to see. But I am determined overall to make it a good experience because it is what I want to do after university. So, analysing my strengths and weaknesses prior to placement, this is just a self-reflection of my strengths that I've found over the second year. So, first of all, in strengths, my enthusiasm coach. This was stated in peer feedback from sport coaching process. Research suggests that enthusiasm was the most effective coaching quality to motivate young athletes, so you see why you'd need this. Use of constructive feedback. This was again stated in peer feedback from sport coaching process. The ability to constructively critique an athlete means there is more chance of improving performance without actually damaging confidence. And also innovative with drills and exercises. This was stated by my tutor during feedback of an innovative and inclusive delivery session. Research, yes, being innovative with tactics and drills can maintain high engagement levels, increasing the chance of successful performance. Moving on to a couple of weaknesses that I've noted. So first of all, confidence in communicating. This was stated in feedback by my DAPP2 tutor during Petra presentation. You need this because effective communication is vital for transferring ideas and feedback to athletes so they can fully understand what you expect of them. And also, what I've self-noted myself, experiencing coach-athletes relationships. I've formed this opinion by looking at research. For example, coach-athlete relationships and experiencing them help you understand how your athlete learns, reacts and adapts to sporting situations, so you see why you'd need this. So moving on to my targets I've set myself to try and achieve for the next 6 weeks at placements. I'll be looking to understand our football academy coaches, observe and analyse their players during practice, gain knowledge on suitable drills and exercises for football academy standard players, improve confidence in communicating with players, extensively observe how senior coaches form coach-athlete relationships, understand daily routine of a football academy coach, and improve disciplinary skills when working with academy players. And at the end of these reflections, I'll be re-evaluating these targets, see if I achieve these. So moving on to the second reflection, I've just completed my first week of placement. What's happened in this time? So I've met the players and coaching staff I'll be working with for the next 6 weeks. I've been shown around the facilities of what they use at Balbicar. I've shadowed and observed the senior coaches during training sessions just to get a good idea of how they go about things there. I've played a couple of training sessions just to see what this standard is actually like. I've watched a league match featuring Balbicar, which they did lose 3-2, and that's a photo of them on the right in action. And also I've observed a post-match analysis debrief by the coaches, which was just interesting to see how they intervene with feedback at the end of games. So Moving on to thoughts, feelings and analysis from placement week 1. So first note, I noted that coaches had high level qualification and experience. They were all at least UEFA licensed, played at professional level, and more importantly, they had 10 plus years of coaching experiences. Players did seem to significantly respect the coaches, and it's probably because of the level of experience and qualifications that they had. Second note, academy players had various individual responsibilities. These included keeping changing rooms tidy, doing laundry, equipment checks and leading warm-ups without a coach present, which was actually a surprising one for me. Research suggests that assigning youth players with small tasks and responsibilities incorporates a degree of trust between themselves and the coaches, whilst encouraging players to start thinking more independently on off the field, something that they need to do if they were to play professionally. Also, coaches were demanding with intensity levels. This wasn't too surprising to see. Players were abruptly pulled up if intensity or pace play wasn't good enough. Research suggests that the change of pace and intensity from an academy game to an elite game is significantly higher. Therefore, it is vital that academy coaches constantly push the young players to increase the tempo and quality of decision making if they are to make that transition to a professional game. And finally, coaching feedback typically went from scold to a positive. There was more scolds present than expected. Players seemed to focus better after being scolded, however. Coaches did always finish with positive feedback, and research suggests that negative feedback can damage an athlete's feeling of competence to perform, so it is important you find the right balance between negative and positive feedback, so you can see why you'd need that. So moving forward, a couple of targets for the next 2 weeks at placement. I'll be looking to create 20-minute session plans based on passing and shooting. Get to know academy players, build on that coach-athlete relationship I was talking about. Ask for feedback from senior coaches to help me improve on my own coaching practice. Continue to practice communicating with players either as group or one-to-one to improve that confidence that I've mentioned. Continue to observe coaching behaviours of the senior coaches, for example, their positioning, tone of voice and feedback type. So moving on to reflection 3, now halfway through the placement. So what's happened halfway through? So I've continued shadowing senior coaches during training sessions. I've had one-to-one chats with academy players to build that coach-athlete relationship I was talking about. I've coached independently using my own drills and ideas. The photo on the right is me and my partner actually coaching a drill that we'd set up ourselves. And I've coached both large and small groups to increase that confidence in communication I was after doing. I had my first altercation with an academy player, which I will discuss further in the next slide. And also I received feedback from senior coaches on my coaching practice, which I will discuss further in the next slide. So, thoughts, feelings and analysis from halfway point of placement. So, few key notes. Like I said, I controlled an altercation with a player. This because I was initially unhappy with the players' effort levels. I was surprised to see that they reacted quite angrily. So I dealt with the situation professionally. I took him away from the players, calmed him down, told him why I was unhappy. It did seem to have calmed down after that. Could this have been avoided? Maybe I could have seen he was getting a bit agitated before I intervened. But it was a good experience to have. So I do understand what I'll need to do next if this ever happens again. Also, some players are harder to motivate than others. Certain players constantly need intervening with to work hard. Research suggests that some athletes quickly lose motivation if they don't see the purpose of practice they're doing. What can I do to prevent this? Maybe always state before drills why we're doing this and how it's relevant to gameplay. Also, first impressions players are vital. I failed to control the group when I was first left on my own with them. This resulted in the drill being low quality. Senior coaches did have to intervene. Research suggests that coaches of a more senior age tend to be naturally more respected by athletes because of their presumed coaching experience. Because of my lack of experience, maybe I should have just shown my authority a little area just to show that they can't be messing around when I'm there. And also, finally, coaching feedback did suggest that I need to show more discipline to players, and this once again refers back to the incident I had in my first drill I did independently with a group. Coaches did suggest I do physical punishments if group are acting up, so this could be like press-ups or doing laps. Research suggests incorporating physical punishments can be a good motivator to increase levels, but overuse of this can hinder an athlete's performance, so you do have to be careful how much you use this. So moving forward, some targets for the last few weeks of placement, I'll be looking to experiment with incorporating discipline into coaching practice, research efficient ways of handling player altercations for future reference, discuss with players about their motivational factors and how to increase their motivations to perform well, continue to seek feedback from senior coaches on my coaching practice, and then also continue to practice coaching large groups to increase confidence. So, reflection 4. This is the end of my placement. So what's happened in the last few weeks? Analysis, thoughts and feelings. So I've coached more training drills. This can be possession-based, shooting and heading that I've done in the past few weeks. Bobby also played in the National Colleges Cup final, which they unfortunately lose 5-0. I mainly shadowed this week due to intense preparation. I weren't allowed to intervene much. But I did, however, manage to observe a post-match analysis debrief of the final, which was interesting to watch. So key points to analyse from last few weeks. Low morale after the cup final loss. This meant a challenging atmosphere. The players were back in training the morning after defeat. Morale was understandably low. How could this have been managed? Well, research suggests that coaches should avoid bombarding players with negatives after a defeat and remain constructive with feedback. Also, the debrief was mainly highlighting errors. This was no surprise to see, because they wanted the players to see where they were actually going wrong. Individual players were highlighted on their errors through video analysis, but did seem quite a useful coaching tool. But criticisms were constructive nevertheless. Research suggests a positive reaction to negative feedback will always depend on how well you have constructed the criticism. And finally, players showed more effort when drills were competitive. This was evident in a possession drill I coached where 3 teams, the team that kept the ball the longest wins. Research suggests having a target can enhance athletes' mindset and effort levels in training, but you should ensure the targets are not actually deflecting the sole purpose of the training, so you just need to be careful if you are doing that. So moving on to evaluating my pre-placement targets that I had before placement. So first one, to understand how football academy coaches observe and analyse their players during practice. I achieve this by spending 2 weeks in total shadowing and observing coaching behaviours of the senior coaches during practice. Also, to gain knowledge on suitable drills and exercises for Football Academy standard players. Yes, I did this. I spent 6 weeks total observing and coaching drills on various games and aspects such as passing, heading, ball retention and shooting. So a wide variety of things that I've learnt there. Improve confidence in communicating with players. Yes, I've done this by taking many opportunities to speak in front of the academy players, explaining drills, giving feedback. This has helped me improve my confidence massively. Also, extensively observe how senior coaches form coach-athletes relationships. Yes, I've done this by observing coaches when they talk to players both on and off the field. It's given me a good understanding of how to do this. Also, understand daily routine of a football academy coach. Yes, but with reservations. I've gained some idea on the routine of academy coach, but never truly seen what coaches did in the office when players weren't training. Maybe I could have gave more of an insight into that or asked for it. Improve disciplinary skills when working with academy players. Yes, I've done this. I mentioned my player altercation ad. It helped me review my own disciplinary skills and try and improve this. So, final thought and key targets for the next 12 months. So, over the course of the next 12 months, I'll look into continue to coach at academy level, make my coach experience more relevant. How? I'll take up the offer from Bowlby to continue coaching their academy players when needed, so that will be very helpful. Look to improve CV work and gain relevant qualifications aligned with my career aspirations. I'll do this by getting one-to-one support on CV work and maybe even interview techniques, and then I'll book my level 2 coaching course to take another step towards the adequate requirements you need to be an academy coach. And then finally, I will also continue to improve my disciplinary skills and motivational climate when coaching. How? I'll research relevant papers on coaching discipline and motivational climate, and then I'll look to apply theory into practice by doing my own coaching. And I thought I'd just finish off by saying that this has overall been a very positive experience for me. It's not put me off of my career aspirations, and I'm looking forward to continuing them over the next 12 months. And that is a list of references I've used for this presentation. Thank you for listening.